huddle there.
Call me Snake. Call me Snake.
I'm just a happy camper.
It's good to be the king. It's good to be the king. Groovy. 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 Groovy.
All I'm offering is the truth.
I know he can get the job, but can he do the job?
Nice. Nice. Not thrilling, but nice.
Good morning. Good morning. How you doing? Oh, it's early in the morning. Yeah. Oh no. Gotta fade the music out. There we go. That's much better. Hi. Good morning. Happy Friday. It's rainy here. It's drizzly, drippy, greasy, whatever your colloquialism is where you are for raining just enough to cause traffic accidents. And in areas like Las Vegas or Los Angeles, where people really forget how to drive in rain between rains, it's an ongoing concern. Yeah, it's raining here. It's and it's nice. It's been overcast the last 2 days. You kind of feel like, all right, could some of the I see the moisture. The moisture exists. It's right there. All you got to do is let go. Like you go out to I'm starting to understand the concept of a rain dance. Maybe like, hey, if I dance for the clouds, maybe they'll drop some of the water. What do you think? Come on. Hey, nothing? All right, I'll keep dancing. Does my hair fritz in the rain? Yes, it does. Yes, it does. Quite a bit, actually. But hi and hello and welcome and glad you could join us. And it's a crazy Friday. It is, I don't think I have to tell you guys because we understand after all we've seen together how stuff works. And one of the most obvious examples of opportunistic infection when it comes to information, disinformation, and the like is if one of the social media networks opens up a new feature, for example, a chat. Twitch has had this problem, obviously, with hate raids lately and nonsense. But someone somewhere who's awful will find a way to exploit said thing. They will find their way, somehow, they will find a technique to crowbar their way into the brand new thing that everybody likes and ruin it for everyone. And that happens, obviously, across the spectrum of social media quite a bit. But it also happens in those areas where you got a new club, you join this new thing, it's the new hotness, and then all of a sudden, somebody flips it on its head and ruins it for you. And what I mean in this situation is, hold on one second. Is this the end of this thing? No, this is okay. There we go. Turn this back to here. I'll show you something in just, whoops. I always type in the wrong thing. There you go. Does this work? There you go, little guy. So apparently, if you haven't seen this morning, Mike Flynn is a Satanist, according to the QAnon people. You start a cult, and it used to take years for a cult to turn on you. It used to take a long time before they went, maybe you're the devil, right? Maybe you're a witch, right? It took years to do that stuff. And now it's a matter of months. It'll be at the point where it's a matter of days. You know what I mean? We're like, hey, I started a new club or whatever that fights the bad guys. You are the bad guy. Hashtag you're the bad guy. Will happen. Yeah. Can I show off my shirt? Sure. It's from the Jerk. Appropriate for a Friday morning, I think, for myself. Yeah, I think this is hilarious. And apparently, and this was the cool part, apparently it's because he quoted some really weird, he used some really odd phrases in his invocation oath / prayer thing that he did at this weird gathering. Let's see, I think, do they have it in here? Or yeah. Okay. So there was this Church of Universal Triumph cult. This dude did a comparison between these two, and they were a cult that believed that nuclear war was going to wipe out humanity. And this woman, this lady, who's just, I mean, fantastic. Wait till you see. She's fantabulous. I have to put in my headphones so I can hear what she's saying, so I can follow along with you. But she's classic. This is classic TV preacher zone. Wait till you see. But apparently, she had this cult that was. They all moved to, I think it was Montana, but they built they were building bunkers in 1990 to survive. It was Montana. Thank you. Yes, it was a Doomsday cult, and and she was digging these fallout shelters, and they were all going to survive. And then, dagnabbit, the world didn't end, which is really a bummer when you're a Doomsday cult. You know what I mean? When the worst thing that can happen to you is the best thing that can happen to the rest of humanity, maybe you're on the wrong side of life. You know what I mean? So, anyways, Mike Flynn gives this weird speech where he invokes, well, you'll see. Let's see if we can get it to play.
Mighty I am presence, I am here, O God, and I am the instrument.
First of all, I know you're aroused, so am I.
Those sevenfold rays and archangels.
We are your instrument of those sevenfold rays and all your archangels. All of them.
I love how he's like, all of them. No, we're not leaving a single archangel out. You might think we are, but no.
I will not retreat. I will take my stand. I will not fear to speak, and I will be the instrument of God's will, whatever it is.
Oh, Lord, you give me these migraines of truth. Oh, Lord, reach down into my soul and give me direction. Where precisely in Montana should we dig a gigantic dirt pit to sleep in for the end of times? Oh, Lord, the world will not end unless we go to Montana and buy me some real estate. What? Sorry, 1 second. You're breaking up. You're breaking up, Lord. What? The world will end no matter what the fuck I do? I'm relatively insignificant amongst the Earth's population, and if you decide to... I see. I'm sorry. You know what? I need another quarter. All right.
We will not retreat. We will not retreat.
I love how by the way, the audience is following along with him. And some lady they're like, we will not retreat. We won't retreat. We will not retreat. And you just hear one woman go, never. Did you guys hear that? It's very faint. Never.
We will stand our ground. We will not fear to speak.
See what I mean? It's like this weird cultish, like, repeat after me.
We will be the instrument of your will.
Okay, so he's reading this, and he's basically copied her speech but like verbatim, and he just kind of is changing a word here and there so nobody notices.
Whatever it is.
Whatever it is. Could be Bigfoot. Could be overpriced ham at the market. We will never retreat. could be avocado toast. It while looks delicious, also looks frightening. It looks putrid and healthy at the same time. I don't know how they manage it. We will not retreat from avocado toast. We shall live.
Here I am, so help me God, in the name of Archangel Michael and his legions. I am freeborn, and I shall remain freeborn, and I shall not be enslaved by any foe within or without.
I think she deserves a round of applause for that. I mean, honestly, just being able to speak in that cadence alone. I'm chubbing. I know the rest of you are. Freeborn. Freeborn.
In your name. And the name of your legions. We are freeborn. And we shall remain freeborn. And we shall...
Listen to this weird, this just reminds me of The Mist, the Stephen King book. And by the way, if you ever want to listen to the most frightening audiobook of all time, it's the binaural recording of Stephen King's The Mist. It's recorded with microphone ears, and it is creepy and amazing. It's it starts off with you just in a field, and your eyes are closed, and you can hear a bee flying by you, and there's this Doppler effect. Everything. It's expiation. V. Gabriel knows it.
not be enslaved by any foe. Within.
But if friends want to enslave us, is there a sort of an out? I don't know. I mean, I'm not really into that kind of thing, but I'm up for trying anything. I would obviously not want to be enslaved by a foe, but friend, neighbor, perhaps someone you meet at a bar. Consensually, slavery with a safe word, I think is what we're talking about.
Or without. So help me God.
Did he say, "Sir, help me God"? It sounded like "Sir, help me God."
God bless you.
Hold on.
Out. So help me God.
Yeah, he said, "Sir, help me God." Clearly another reference to Sir. Obviously, Satan is the Sir he's talking to. He always calls Satan Sir. And you know how I know that? Because of all of Trump's Sir stories. Sir.
God bless you. God bless America. Thank you very much.
Yeah, so he copies this woman, Elizabeth Clare Prophet's weird invocation, chant, oath thing verbatim, like the asshole that he is. And then I think it might be, hold on. It might be Aaron. I know I have it on my iPad. I'll just send it to this guy. Good morning. Oh, thanks very much, Melissa. Welcome. Thanks for the super chats, you guys. Good morning, Angela. Thank you. Welcome to the Gun Show. What's up? How you doing? They're getting there. I'm working on them. I got the little flat cut right under the tricep. See that? That's what you shoot for when you're working on your tricep. You want that flat. You want that. That's how you know you're starting to get some definition. That's the key. I'm gonna try and send this ridiculous story. Is it in this thing? Yeah. I know I found it somewhere. Hold on. Where the heck? Because good morning, everybody, and welcome. How are you? Thanks very much. I think that was. Oh my God. We'll get into it later on this afternoon. But I will be doing Trump's interview on Fox News with Hannity from last night, which is peak awful. It's Steve Martin. Be somebody. Navin R. Johnson. Be somebody. Get your name in the phone book. This is right to try to pump you up. This is the type of things and the type of this to try to work out and do the lifting and the picking up the heavy things and putting them back down. I mean, there's today, the to my earlier point, Friday news dump used to be something that people could count on as a way of people not noticing a news story that was going out, because it was still based on the idea that there was essentially nightly news, and if you dumped it in a perfect window between the evening news and the 11 o'clock news, the local news couldn't even get it out, and it would just kind of wilt over the weekend. Everybody's wilting on the weekend. So, and now everybody has weaponized that Friday so much that people are they've got their radar up. Like, everybody's watching for Friday's the day when the good shit comes out. That's, and so there's a bunch of that's happened, not the least of which is let me find there's so much awful. There's just so much awful in these people. It's so gross. This is probably my favorite story right now. This one I'm enjoying quite thoroughly. Mike Lindell claims that he's found people as old as 850 years who voted in the 2020 election. And I love the glasses shot. He looks like somebody just smacked him in the head. Like, it's like finally he was talking on Lindell TV and a hand came out of the monitor and just went. Zachary Patrizio, which is the guy that Lindell is after, regarded that My Pillow claims that he's let's see. Let's go to his thing. Lindell adds, here you go. My Pillow CEO Mike Lindell's new claim tonight. He's found someone who is 850 years old who voted in the 2020 election. He won't say from what state that alleged voter was registered. Well, of course not, because it's obviously a Republican. And if it was a fake vote, it was for Trump. Lindell adds that he and his team have identified 2,000 people over the age of 200 that voted in a mysterious state that he won't name. Here's a clip of it. Oh, good. Oh, good.
We pulled up. I'm going to give an example today, and I'm not going to say what state. We pulled up. We put from the voter rolls to one of our team. We have a team that goes through all of it now with this other system that pulls up all anomalies. What I mean by that is 5 people voting from the same address, or 5 of the
five adults living in the same household.
Names. I'll give you an example today. 2,650 people over the age of 100. Now you might say, well, that could be. 2,000 of them were over 200. Wouldn't you like to live in that state?
Sure. What state is it? Let me guess. It's a state that went to Trump, where he bought votes. Do I have to put up my thing so I don't get in trouble? I don't even know. Oh, I don't have the satire thing. Yes, I do.
What?
Yes, Trump bought all these votes. These are all faked by the administration that was in power at the time.
What?
And obviously, what Trump is most angry about is that he spent all this money trying to win the election, and he still got swamped because he's a loser. There you go. Something like that.
Right, they were 200 and some years old. So obviously one guy was 850.
They were 200 years old. These people that are voting are 200 years old. Of course, they're obviously not living.
They're obviously deceased, but one guy was 850 years old. Okay, and these are facts. You can get them from your own state's thing. Now,
you can get them from your own state's thing. Now, 850, I'm going to guess, is 85, and somebody hit a 0 in the wrong place when his own team was sending him the number. I mean, I don't even know why I'm pretending that this is something real. I mean, he's paying these guys to feed his addiction. This is basically Mike Lindell's new crack. He just wants a hit off that pipe of fake voter BS. every day. And so he'll pay any price, steal anything, sell his toaster and anyone else's who gets in his way, just to get a hit off that. It's even bigger than I thought. And it has to get more extreme because, like any drug, it starts to lose its power if you don't up the dose.
And then remember, you have non-residents,
right?
But basically, it pulls out all these deviations, anomalies, and they're stacked up like cordwood. And then we have the canvassing.
They're stacked up like cordwood, which, by the way, is a dead people reference. When people say stacked up like cordwood, they mean corpses. Corpses stacked like cordwood. This is a common military phrase where he heard it from. He probably heard it from Mike Flynn. Mike Flynn and those guys all use that term.
We back it up. So let's say you have an address like we did, like in Wisconsin, remember, where it was 23,000 people.
Yeah, it wasn't like that at all, but that's good. Let me guess, January 1st, 1800, Mike Lindell is unfamiliar with the concept of a default value in a database. Exactly. It's exactly this. Absentee voters occasionally fail to submit date of birth. Registrars will still process the application, but a placeholder value of 1/1800 in the data field until the applicant can return the required information. And by the way, they have a database of the returned information, or they cure it and they fill it in somewhere else, but it's not in the same one. So they look in the one where the question is asked and don't look where the answer is given. That's how they do it. The placeholder information has to be inserted in order for the electronic poll book to accept the entry. A 2017 report about duplicate voting from Government Accountability Institute, excuse me, good morning, echoed this explanation as well. It is important to note that some state registration systems indicate a missing date of birth by adopting filler dates such as 1/1900, 1/1850, or 1/1800, the report noted. Yeah.
Well, I'm going to give an example today, and I'm not
going to actually look at anything that would immediately destroy. By the way, Can't Stop Lying, thank you for your service, not only in your country, but also help pal. Salute you, sir. Absolutely. We salute Can't Stop Lying. It's Can't Stop Lying Friday. Much love to him and to all the great work that he does. So, anyways, this is good times. There are plenty of cuckoo go nuts folks today, and obviously Lindell is top of the heap. Let's see. By the way, Japan had a problem with the Doomsday cult putting sarin gas on trains and stuff like that. That's why the FBI and the DOJ are looking into these lunatics. Like the oath creepers and the like. Speaking of creepers, hold on, I gotta shrink this down so you can see it. Newlywed Matt Gaetz is playing happy husband to cover his sex trafficking probe. Insiders, no kidding. When he announced his wedding, it was like timed literally to draw attention away from this. Recently married Florida Republican's wife Ginger Lucky, which is just ironic, recently tweeted out photos of themselves gazing out on the waterfront and smooching, with the lawmaker saying, "My politics are whatever this is," with his bride murmuring, "Mine are whatever this is." Ew. The Political Insiders noticed a shift in his tone, reported this. It has definitely been noticed that a Republican who worked with Gaetz in Florida, it's somewhere between look over here, magic trick stuff, and maybe pretending there's no investigation. There's not a lot that Matt Gaetz does that isn't in some way, shape, or form very carefully crafted image management. Really? Where'd you figure that out? From his big boy hairdo? You can't out social media the law, says Risa Heller, a Democratic crisis communication expert. You can't out tweet the law. You can't out Instagram the law. Well, I mean, he believes that Trump did, right? And so therefore he's hoping that he can. That's where he learned it. No, it's just a good. Well, instead of our trends this morning, we'll just go through these companies. GOP donors panic after Trump endorses another candidate accused of domestic violence. What do you think, he did it on accident? That's on his checklist. Failing to conduct thorough background checks on candidates before endorsing them, raising serious concerns about among Republican Party officials and even his own supporters. Has endorsed a series of candidates involved in allegations of wrongdoing, especially concerning their treatment of women. There is no vetting process. I disagree. I think he vets them for their domestic violence bona fides. As Trump tries to exact revenge, he appears only endorsing candidates who flatter his ego, according to the AP. And the only people who would flatter someone like that's ego, of course, is someone who would beat their wife, apparently. Trump himself has been accused of sexual misconduct by more than 24 women, but he, like the other men he has defended, has always vigorously denied the allegations. The latest example, Sean Parnell, whom Trump endorsed in his Pennsylvania Senate race this week. The Philadelphia Inquirer reported that Parnell had asked a judge to seal records in his ongoing custody case to ban his wife and her attorney from talking publicly about past protection from abuse orders against him. So she didn't throw these things in just while they were going through the divorce and the custody thing. These have been on record for a while, and he wants them hidden. Previously, Trump endorsed Herschel Walker, of course, who repeatedly threatened to kill his ex-wife and her new boyfriend. Also said he plays Russian roulette. He's also backed Ohio congressional candidate Max Miller, despite the former White House aide's long history of anger problems, including allegations that he assaulted former Trump press secretary Stephanie Grisham, his ex-girlfriend. Just the most awful, awful people. You'll never run out of just awful when it comes to the Trump crowd. All right, let's take oh god. Oh, this is nice. Okay, here we go. Some good trends this morning. Let's do our Twitter trends for the day, shall we? Here we go. Hashtag Trump is broke by Maria Ressa and Dmitry Muratov win the 2021 Nobel Peace Prize. This one's for their efforts to safeguard freedom of expression, which is a precondition of democracy and lasting peace. Co-founder and CEO of Rappler, a news website in the Philippines, which the Nobel Committee says was focused critical attention on Duterte's regime's controversial murderous anti-drug campaign. Muratov is the editor-in-chief of Novaya Gazeta, which the committee described as the most independent newspaper in Russia today, with a fundamentally critical attitude towards power. So good for both of them for putting their necks on the line for free speech. Hey, something we can all agree on. All right, this has got Trump is broke. Hashtag Trump is broke. The D.C. hotel, oh, this is from a CNN thing. The Trump D.C. hotel incurred more than $70 million in losses while Trump was president. Even with all these, like, Saudis buying whole floors out and not even staying there? The Lincoln Project. Trump is broke. Trump, yeah, so this is what it's related. I mean, we've been talking about this for a while. Dude is in trouble. Okay, Trump racked up more than $70 million in losses over a 4-year period from his D.C. hotel while publicly claiming, I guess, it was making tens of millions. This per documents released by the House Oversight Committee, Manhattan DA, and the New York AG. Ouch. Owie. Investigators have reviewed Trump's financials, but none of that has been made public. The documents include details that Congress chased for years during the presidency. Hi, Molly. Molly's come down to see us. She doesn't like to be picked up, and she's very nervous, so I don't know that I would be able to pick her up and bring her in here. It'd be worth a try, but I don't think so. Hi, baby. Hi. What you doing? Hello. Just staring at me like a horror movie. Let's see. Dems unsuccessfully sued for under the emollients clause. Oh, I see. This is the end of a sentence here. Over which the House Dems sued for under the emoluments clause of the Constitution. The committee also claimed General Services Administration documents showed that Trump received undisclosed preferential treatment from Deutsche Bank on a $170 million construction loan. No kidding. I mean, all stuff that we all have known for a long time, but that's finally making its way up to the obvious and well-known stuff. What? Good for you, Tara Dublin. Okay, you know who sent Trump is broke trending in the U.S.? I do. Well done, Tara Dublin rocks. I have spoken. Who trended it? That's fine. Yeah, it certainly helps when you stack them. Yeah, this is playing out quite obviously. George Orwell, 1984. He was a fattish but active man of paralyzing stupidity, a mass of imbecile enthusiasms, one of those completely unquestioning devoted drudges on whom, more even than on the thought police, the stability of the party depended. I mean, seriously. By the way, good morning. Welcome to the Friday morning show. We're just relaxing into this stuff today. This is, it's overcast where I am. How is it where you are? How's the weather? How's your beverage? I'm drinking a bottle of water. Phil Collins is trending. Please be okay. Please be okay. Please be okay. Please be okay. Oh, excellent. I know you can't do that. You can't. Everybody's like, please don't. Yeah, he's got nerve damage in his back and in his arms, so he sits while he sings. He's been doing this for a few years, so it's not new. So people are worried about this. I mean, he's an old dude, but he also, you know, and it comes from years of playing drums. Yeah. Phil Collins cancels Genesis Target band members test positive for COVID. Oh, God. That's why. Okay, so this is why it's trending. Because he's got, he's talked openly about his alcohol use while he was doing his albums after his divorce. All of his, the latter albums, especially No Jacket Required, I think, they were about his divorce effectively, and he drank himself into a stupor because he was broken and miserable, and all those songs have traces of that heartache in it, and so yeah. Singing, doing Hey Jude. Like how many? Yeah.
I ever forget it's the first time and the last time we ever.
So he walks around like a shark on stage until it's time for the drums to go. First time I saw Genesis, Peter Gabriel sang and Phil Collins played the drums at Green's Playhouse. Probably the last time they'll tour with Phil singing and his son Nick, who's excellent at drums. Yes, Phil Collins is 71, I want to say. Hi, Rob. Good morning. Welcome. His son is playing drums on the Genesis tour. So, and has been playing for him when he did his live gigs before as well. Yeah, I love Phil Collins. I'm a huge fan of his songwriting. I think he's a sweetheart. I got nothing against him. All of his music has always been about either having fun or telling some truths, and I have no problem with this whatsoever. I don't have to, I can feel this way, by the way, about bands I don't like. There are several where I'm like, yeah, you do you, but I also happen to love Phil Collins, his work in general. So, yeah, so they just performed, and it was great, apparently. Yeah. And then the guys tested positive. So, shit. Just, you know. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, he wants to be out there apparently, you know, or he wouldn't do it. He's that kind of guy. So, let's see. Heat waves far deadlier than we think. How California neglects the climate threat. What? Neglects it. Yes. Why aren't more people out yelling at the sun? California leads the way on all environmental advances. The fuck are you talking about? Chronically undercounts the death toll from the extreme heat, which disproportionately harms poor, the elderly, and others who are vulnerable. As a state, heat waves are far. Then you're not talking about heat waves. Unless you're talking. I'm not a member. Crap. 20 in the hottest decade in California's official data attributed 599 deaths to heat exposure, but a Times analysis found the true toll is 6 times higher. I see. So they're counting the ones that would not have died but for the heat, and you're counting. This is back to the COVID argument. California's undercount is one of the ways it overlooks the threat posed by heat waves, even as climate change delivers them more frequently, more intensely. And yet we know how the weather works. Over the course of 10 years, 9 years in this case, there were 3,000 some odd deaths attributed to heat in a state with 40 million people. And this is the whole state. But notice the graphic looks like Los Angeles. Urban heat island, compression heat and circulation, high pressure system, humid air, pushes apparently airplanes into dolphins. This poor surfer, he's huge. He's a bit tall. He's big as an airplane. No wonder he can't. I wish I could travel, but the only thing that will take me anywhere is this giant surfboard. Each year, extreme heat kills more Americans than any other climate-fueled hazard, including hurricanes, floods, and wildfires, but it gets far less attention. Harm feels heavily on poor, the infirm, the very young, and the elderly. We know this. That's why they give warnings about it all the time. People die in stifling homes, apartments, trailers they can't afford to air condition. They collapse while working in the sun at jobs they can't afford to lose. What for some is nuance is for others a threat to survival. 3,900 deaths over the previous decade, 6 times the state's official tally. And again, this is a state that works harder than almost any other in the country to fight climate change. Maybe New York. And we know why this is, because Trump. AIDS is trending because of Trump. We'll play this later on. I don't want to play any of it now because I'm going to do it later on the show. And I'm trying to avoid watching any of it. But Jesus Christ, this cretin. Look at this asshole. Ugh. No wonder he's so afraid of Haitians. He thinks it's the next Vietnam. Chevy Chase is 57 today. Really? Get the what? Yeah, I'm like, what are you talking about? He's 78. What in the world? Paul Hogan's 82. Holy smokes! And Sigourney Weaver's 72. Feel old yet? Man. I'm 52. I feel like a spring chicken. Whatever that means. Fletch is one of the greatest movies that's ever been made, period, end of story. I will take no arguments. The vacation movies are next level art. Funny Farm was ridiculous and terrible and unfortunate. Caddyshack is a classic and shall be forever. Just get used to the idea. I don't care. Spies Like Us is beautiful and funny. And we know this.
Did you hear that? Yeah. It's a dickfer. What's a dickfer? To pee with.
You know what I mean?
All right. Stop right there, and I'll bring back the sun.
He's so good in it.
Every minute you don't tell us why you're here, I cut off a finger.
Mine or yours?
Yours.
Damn.
Of course, Christmas Vacation is a must-watch every year. And The Three Amigos is a classic in and of itself as one of the most absurd sells in comedy history ever. And my favorite line in it, I mean, I like a lot of it. Lip balm is my favorite Chevy Chase line in it. But my favorite line in the whole thing is, so Esmeralda, so like the wind, right? Which is Martin Short's line. So good. We love you, Chevy Chase. We're sorry people think you're a dick. But
Moon River.
You will always be welcome around here.
Doc, you ever serve time?
Yeah, there you go.
Whew. Thank you, Doc. You ever serve time?
All right.
You using the whole fist, Doc?
So, yeah. We happy birthday. And Sigourney Weaver, by the way, you know, my fellow left of centers, one of the things that pisses me off about the talk about how there aren't enough starring roles for women and that women aren't featured enough in things is not that there shouldn't be more and that that's a good conversation to have, but the absolute erasure of the women who have come before pretending it didn't exist. Like Alien. For God's sakes, like the Ripley character is one of the bravest, boldest, most powerful characters in science fiction. Made all the more brave and all the more incredible by the fact that she has no superpowers. She's using ingenuity and every scrap of strength that she has. They stay up for days. They are up against something they can't possibly fathom the danger of until it's on top of them. And the fact that the Ripley character was written without a gender description in the script, and when the writers were on the line with the studio, and the studio go, is Ripley a man or a woman? And they hadn't really made up their mind, honestly. And they both went, a woman? And they went, oh, great. That's amazing. That was it. So for all this, like, we can never do it. There was no moment where somebody went, well, you got to change that. You can't have a chick in this thing. We need to cast somebody buff in this thing. Ripley is a man. Get on it. Yeah. Also, Sarah Connor. Like, Sarah Connor's strength and fortitude in those movies is legendary. You can make an argument that things still have to move forward without pretending there was no progress until you arrived on the fucking scene. It's gross. It's gross. And, Martha Coolidge and Penelope Spheris and other female directors, they just, they fall into like a memory hole for people when they're saying, we need more women directors. Like, women directors have done great work. Like, instead of pretending we need to find some nobody rando to just hire anybody. It's like, come on. Give credit where credit is due. You didn't invent the change you're seeing. Oh God, it grosses me out. It's embarrassing. It's like all the Zoomers and the millennials that think they invented gender fluidity. Like, have you seen Paul Stanley's makeup? Have you seen David Bowie do anything? Have you? May I introduce you to the concept of Boy George? We have obviously talked about you know, some of the great movie characters, like in A World According to Garp and other movies where, you know, trans characters played an absolute integral part in the storyline and were not mocked in any way. They were, you know, they had value and added value, but everybody wants to pretend like that they didn't do any of that shit until I showed up. It was all awful till I arrived. Piss off. Let's see. This Deutsche Bank is trending, of course, and that's related to the other story. Yeah, so this is the other thing is 11 Republicans is trending because 11 Republicans voted to end the filibuster so that you can vote to raise the debt ceiling on reconciliation. And they can go, these people just stack up debt. They unilaterally, blah, blah, blah. Well, that's because they're the only party playing for keeps. All these people, including Mitch McConnell, who voted to end the debate, should also, in theory, vote to move it forward. Like, this is a tacit vote. This is cowardly. But Hannity's mad because they won't stop them. They didn't vote to stop them. What'd Rick do? Rick, what are you doing? As bad as multiple calls have screening. As of now, 1-6 commission is dead already. Will not enforce the subpoenas. Trump wins. 1-6 terror plot will go unexamined, unpunished. I'm livid is putting it mildly. This is staffed wrong, led wrong, and gutless exercise to get back to talking about infrastructure. They're not taking the risk seriously. They're not taking the data before them seriously, and their ego to run out the clock. Livid. I'm told the whole plan is to bring in academics to examine the information from that day when it should be a law enforcement, intelligence community style counterterrorism investigation. Leadership has already decided to slow roll it and write a tisk memo at the end. They're afraid of 1A implications. The fuck? How about being afraid of a mob coming to fucking kill you? Democrats will never tell me again we got this because you don't have this. Stay locked in your bubble. The modern GOP won't have a mob of Bannon's terrorists burn you to the ground and piss on the ashes. An unpunished coup is a training exercise. End. Well, I guess we shall see. Now, of course, Satanist is trending thanks to Mike Flynn. There you go. We've already covered this, but there you go. And then, of course, they scandal and they need to hide the truth in plain sight. Makes them feel powerful. Satanists love symbolism. Extinction symbol. The extinction symbol represents the Holocene extinction of Earth. A circle represents the planet. It's the Black Widow symbol, sort of. A circle represents the planet, and a stylized hourglass and a warning that is running out for many species. Wikipedia. And then well, that's not it, though. That's a pill crossing over with an hourglass in it, in theory. That's not the symbol. That's the symbol. That's a circle with the two triangles in it. These are rounded. These are 4 intersecting circles. But obviously the number 82 is Q times 47. Math. Yeah, there's that lady who we love, and then yeah, so they're all, this is where this is all coming from. I think we do increasingly need a Satanist Freemason Giga Chad. So it's a Mason, but not the Satanist part. What? Oh, I see. Giga Chad. I see. Adorable. Michael Flynn to QAnon believers. I'm not a Satanist. Only a Satanist would deny that. Right. I guess any book that doesn't strongly present Satanist perspectives won't be taught in Southlake, Texas. What? Here's the rubric sent to teachers in Southlake, Texas this week to help them decide which books to remove from their classroom. It comes days after the district disciplined a teacher who had a copy of This Book is Anti-Racist in her class. So This is the paperwork. Evaluation criteria: credibility, perspective, appropriateness. Standards fully met. The author provides balanced information by providing multiple perspectives. The book represents multiple perspectives reflective of a variety of experiences. Language material is age level appropriate, and the vocabulary is understandable because there should be no explicit violence, language, or sexual situations. Standard partially met. You get 1 point. Author's implicit perspective bias is notable, but the book has other instructional value. Book represents a singular dominant narrative, but may be balanced with other stories. Language material is age level. Okay. Standard not met. Author perspective bias distorts content, making the material inappropriate for use with students. Book represents a singular dominant narrative in such a way that it cannot be balanced with other materials, may be considered offensive. Language material is not age level appropriate. Yeah, this is the total no-go book for schools. So they're not going to be reading Lady Chatterley's Lover. Clearly, there's a bias there. Conditions to be made by the collaborative team. How does the author's perspective impact the content? Does the author represent perspectives other than a singular dominant narrative? Do others... I don't know why this is a problem. Yeah, so we're going with this... Surely you must know now the politicians in leadership positions are Satanists who actually want you dead. How obvious. The Premier of Quebec flashes Satan's 666 hand sign and nods. How is that the... Did you guys get a memo? I was not aware that this is the 666 sign. I thought... That was for a long time. They said that was the 666 sign because it has 3 6s. Like this is the round part, and then they all branch off, right? But then that became the white supremacy one. So now there's like hello, hello, hello. Murder most followed by Satanists. Okay, yeah. Global Elite Leaders Conference, Vatican Transhumanist Conference. The Vatican is a Satanist. Communism. Marx created communism. Marx was a Satanist. This is all Luciferian genocide. just write it up. Sure. Yeah. Okay. What's supposed to be Satanism in this? I have to hear. Hold on.
We recognize our responsibility to do more, and that's what we are announcing here today. A statewide requirement for in-person instruction for all of our children to add to a well-established list that currently includes 10 vaccinations and well-established rules and regulations that have been advanced by the legislature for decades, to add to that list the vaccination for COVID-19. We intend to do that once the FDA has fully approved the vaccine, which will give us time to work.
I'm sorry. I don't understand all this satanic mumbo jumbo.
Districts give us time to work with parents and educators to build more trust and confidence and build out a logistics so that we can deliver on what we are promoting here today. And that promotion includes the following considerations. Once the FDA approves the vaccination in different cohorts, starting with 12 and above, grades 7 to 12, we will begin to apply that requirement in the next term, either January 1st.
Thank you for subscribing. Welcome, everybody. By the way, we've been just kind of hanging out. It's a Friday morning, so got about another half hour of digging in. Hope you have a beverage. Hope you're relaxed.
July 1st, whichever comes sooner. Concurrent with that, we also want to see all of our staff, paraprofessionals, not just teachers, bus drivers, custodial staff, and the like, the folks that really make the school system operational, also see them get vaccinated as well.
Yeah, we can really, honest to God, we can really do without the students as long as we have. That's it. So that's the sign of Satanism. Is it because he has a sign language interpreter? Biden's going live for a speech? Okay, let's take that then, shall we? Hold on 1 second. Let's get the Biden live speech. Whoops, wrong. Whoops, I'm in the wrong one. Sorry. I'm in the wrong thing. I think. This is live right now. Here we go.
Also remind us that we have important work ahead of us and important investments we need to make. America is still the largest economy in the world. We still have the most productive workers and the most innovative minds in the world.
True.
But we risk losing our edge as a nation if we don't move.
True.
Our infrastructure used to be the best in the world. Today, according to the World Economic Forum, the United States of America ranks 13th in the world, 13th, on infrastructure, roads, bridges, ports, etc. We're among the first in the world to guarantee access to universal education back at the turn of the 20th century. Now, the Organization of Economic Cooperation and Development, catch this, ranks America 35 out of 37 major economies when it comes to investing in early childhood education as a percent of GDP. 35 out of 37. On all these investments that fuel a strong economy, we've taken our foot off the gas. And the world has taken notice, including our adversaries. And now they're closing the gap. Look,
obviously
so
a
it's
satanic
essential
symbol right there.
that we have to regain the momentum we
nosebite.
lost. As my wife says all the time, a professor she is, any country that out-educates us is going to out-compete us. The work of our time is to prepare ourselves to be competitive to win the fast-changing 21st century global economy. That's why I propose two critical pieces of legislation being debated here in Washington right now. One, focus on the investments we need to make in the physical infrastructure of America, roads, bridges, ports, etc. The second, focus on the investments we need to make in the American people to make us more competitive. I know this is my legislation, and I feel strongly about it, but the people who have the most at stake are the American people. So we need to stay focused on what these bills will mean to the people who are just looking for a little bit of breathing room, a fair chance to build a decent middle-class life, to succeed and thrive instead of just hanging on by their fingernails. We need to keep an eye on what's fundamentally at stake for our country. The ability to compete and win the race of the 21st century as we did the 20th century. A race that other countries are doing everything they can to win. In recent years, China has spent around 3 times as much on infrastructure, 3 times as much
And it all fell
as a
down
share of
last
its
week.
economy than the United States has. Our infrastructure bill makes investments we need to rebuild the arteries of our economy, the roads, the highways, the bridges, the ports, the airports, the rails. And we're going to allow us to replace lead water pipes, which are poisoning our children and families. It's ridiculous. Build a modern energy grid that can withstand storms and carry renewable energy across America. Make high-speed internet affordable and available to everywhere in America. And create good union jobs in the process of putting that together. We're going to make the largest investment in public transit in American history. And we're going to make the most important investments on our rail since the creation of Amtrak 50 years ago. But it isn't enough just to invest in our physical infrastructure. We're going to lead the world like we used to. If we're going to do that, we also have to invest in our people. That's what my second bill does, the Build Back Better plan. That's what it does. Today, only about half of the 3- and 4-year-olds in America are enrolled in early childhood education. In Germany, France, the UK, Latvia, that number is more than 90%. We're falling behind. It's not just early education. According to one study, America ranks, catch this, America ranks 33rd out of the 44 advanced economies when it comes to the percentage of our young people who have attained a post-high school degree. The United States, 33rd out of 44. My Build Back Better plan gets us back on track to making 4 additional years of public education available for every person in America. 2 years of high-quality preschool in the front end, which indicates that over 56% of the children will be able to go through all 12 years and beyond without any interruption. And investments in community college, so our students can gain the skills they need and carve out a place for themselves in the 21st century economy. We're going to help build families. We're going to help them afford to care for their new baby, a child, an elderly relative. It's going to extend the tax credit for families with children. It's going to help us meet the moment on climate change and become a global leader in the fast-growing clean energy industries like solar and wind power. The whole world knows that the future of the auto industry is electric, and battery technology. We need to make sure America builds that future instead of falling behind. We should build those vehicles and the batteries that go into them and the charging stations they're going to need, the 500,000 we're going to build across America. Here in the United States, we should be doing this. And look, if we get this done, we're going to breathe new life into our economy and our workforce, and we're going to breathe cleaner air at the same time. These are the kinds of investments that will get America back in the game and give our workers a chance, a fighting chance. Economists left, right, and center agree. Earlier this year, Moody's on Wall Street projected that the investments in these bills will bring us a higher GDP and additional 2 million jobs per year and lower unemployment. These bills are not about left versus right or modern versus progressive or anything else that pits Americans against one another.
Brenda, by the way.
These bills are about competitiveness versus complacency. Competitiveness versus complacency. Opportunity versus decay. They're about leading the world or whether we're going to let the world pass us by. The American people understand what's at stake here. They understand that when workers and families have a better shot, America has a better shot. Given half a chance, the American people have never, ever let their country down. Today, we receive more evidence of the progress we're making. And I know we can make a lot more in the days ahead. I want to thank you, and God bless you all, and may God protect our troops. Thank you very much.
Questions. I'm not answering them. I'm giving a speech. Goodbye. Well, there you go. That was basically he's just, touting the plan, putting public pressure out. This would be the not so bully pulpit. This would be the cuddle pulpit. I think something like that. I mean, a lot of everybody wants, the biting piece of news, and I think it's really interesting because you see two sides of the same strategy in this. In that, Trump would just call them fake news and shut them down, and then just direct the question where the answer to whatever question he wanted to be asked in his own head, and Biden just doesn't take the questions. He doesn't stand there and go, "You're fake news." This is, it's just like, no, we're not taking questions. I just said my piece. We'll have a press conference when we're having a press conference, when the American people have a lot of questions about one particular thing. But we're out here delivering a message. There's no press conference after commercials, for example. There's no press conferences after an Oval Office speech, for example. And I think this is a distinct strategy on their part. He also knows he's got an Irish temper, and in the past, he's stepped on his own tongue, and he was well known for this. It's interesting that nobody also gives him credit for that fact, is the kind of awareness, as we know, in the immortal words of Clint Eastwood, man's got to know his limitations. And if you have a tendency to either misspeak or step on your own talking point or get diverted into an angry exchange, best thing is don't get in him. That's always the best plan. And you can prep yourself for when you're going to take a bunch of questions from a bunch of different people and kind of get in the zone for that, as opposed to I came out here to sell this one thing and here's this asshole trying to distract me. That's aggravating. That's right, Magnum Force. Well done. So I appreciate that that's how he decided to handle it. A lot of people were talking about when Trump got elected president, if he could become presidential, if he could find his way to being presidential. And then ultimately, he just didn't care. Like literally, where do we have this? see if I think it might be in here. Is it this one? Yeah.
I didn't become different. I got impeached twice.
Right. So Trump, was the big question was, okay, now that he's been elected, does he stop being the asshole we know him to be? Does he suddenly turn into a real president? Because we know what he does. And he didn't. He stayed the same asshole the whole time. He had 2 speeches where he was, filling his diaper with soup, where everybody was like, that was a turning point, truly presidential moment. The rest of the time he was just a prick, because that's what he ran on. That's what his image of himself, and he thinks that's being tough. He believes that to be tough. And Biden, I think, knows that he has his tendencies. And everybody was, in the similar way, people were talking about, will he be gaffe prone? Will he say the wrong thing and set up, say the opposite of what he's trying to say, or stutter and fix it with a word that makes it worse, blah, blah, blah. That was, those were issues that he'd had in the past. Or will he tell the talking point before everybody on the team has decided we're go with the talking point, like with gay marriage, for example, when he was in the Obama administration. So those things, are things that he's aware of and that the public was aware of, and everybody was asking, will he be able to handle those things? And then they're like, why isn't he taking questions at these things? Because the man's got to know his limitations. Trump mocked being presidential in one of his rallies. Right. His name was Screaming Former from day one. Right. He didn't mention anyone's menstrual cycle. He didn't say someone was bleeding from their wherever. Right. Tesla is removing rare earth metals from its future batteries. Yep. And Alex, in terms of hydrogen, I was an early proponent of hydrogen, and I also think that that's where a lot of the quick fueling hybrids of the future will be. Hydrogen for long hauls. It will be, someone will go, well, batteries aren't going to do it. We'll get to the battery thing where they'll be ubiquitous. And what gas-driven cars then will switch over to hydrogen, and the infrastructure for that will be extended because you can get it in a lot of different places. And it's not hard to come up with. So absolutely, I'm still on the hydrogen bandwagon in that regard. It's a very smart fuel source. But because of the trend, what are cars mostly used for, which is commuter cars, batteries work just fine. It's the cross-country trips that people have range anxiety about that you might start seeing hydrogen really make its space. Obviously Honda, who I've worked with in the past, they had, they had a hydrogen station. They still have one in Huntington Beach in California for their hydrogen cars. I just think the idea, most people thought that hydrogen would be the primary, but the infrastructure for it was harder to come up with than, say, electric batteries or charging, because there's outlets everywhere. So charging your car based on your house is a lot easier than, say, charging, setting up a hydrogen infrastructure. So it might just be that it flipped the other direction. Auto racing is moving to hydrogen. Yeah, that will also be the tipping point. That'll be the, for people who don't want to give up gas because freedom, hydrogen will be the next one, And watch for all these cars that run on hydrogen with a nuke going off in the background, selling the idea of the hydrogen bomb and the toughness of hydrogen, and hydrogen is the new gas. Let's see if we want to grab anything. We got a couple minutes, whatever. We're hanging out. And this is this is so lovely. This is just, can we just bask in this for a minute? Just enjoy that for a second. Donald Trump may not face prosecution, but he's already facing his greatest fear. He doesn't have any money. Despite numerous robes, this is probably about the same things. This is Jeffrey Toobin. Donald Trump once was the subject of a friar's roast long before he was president. What he said to the people who were roasting him is, you can joke about anything except that I don't have a lot of money. That's the one thing you can't joke about. But you know what? Donald Trump does not have a lot of money. And I think people are missing the point that when they say the real risk to him is criminal prosecution, whether in the DA's office or something out of January 6th. I don't think there are going to be any criminal prosecutions, but because Deutsche Bank was so indulgent of his failed businesses for years and years, he has been able to stave off financial disaster. But Deutsche Bank said, we're done with him now, and he's not going to find American or big lenders in the United States or companies that do a lot of business in the United States. And that's the real problem he faces in the next few years. It's not just the hotel, it's all the hotels that are doing terribly, and he doesn't have the money to pay back his loans. Oh, it's wonderful. Just enjoy that. Just glide on in on that. Just doesn't. Oh yeah. He'll do a massive restructuring of debt. Little bunny fuck you popped in for a moment. Yeah. Oh yeah. He's going to be like raising money hand over fist over the next couple of years. And that, again, I think that's why he can't run for president, because he can never give that money up. He's not going to be making it anywhere else. He's going to be paying the debt on his loans, hoping that something takes off with that money. Speaking of which, don't forget to like and subscribe, give a thumbs up, share the show. If you find any enjoyment in any of the work that I do, if I've given you $1 worth of joy, please feel free, or if I've given you $5 worth of joy, send $1 worth of thank you, I think is the way to do it, right? That seems a reasonable exchange. You as my employer are getting more out of me than you have to pay me. I mean, what could be better? So bits, subscriptions, following, becoming a Patreon, all those things help. Whatever floats your boat, whatever you can do easily, comfortably, happily, with no stress, that's what I would like for you. Oh God, there's just so much awful in this. This I'm curious about. I just hope they air it. A disturbing event will bring together gun nuts, Trumpians, and a Pennsylvania Doomsday church. She seems nice. Oh, that's Dana Loesch? That's Dana Loesch? Ugh. She looks like a villain in the Handmaid's Tale. Freedom Fest. Is that Freedom Fest? We'll turn it up. Is a far-right event held in Greenlee, Pennsylvania, organized by a combination of fringe Christians, gun manufacturers. Speaking this year will include former NRA spokesperson Dana Loesch, former White House Chief of Staff Steve Bannon, according to Daily Beast reporter Jose Pagliari. The presence of Freedom Fest underscores the ever-increasing radicalization of the Republican Party. Few Americans are even aware of the gun company car. Yeah, this is the one that we saw as an ad, which, shit, the clips all blend together. Yesterday, they were doing an ad. Which one was it? Does anybody remember? Shit, it was one of the clips we did yesterday. Now I got to go back and look. Oh, it was Gorka. That's right. Thank you. Yeah, it was Sebastian Gorka. That's right. Few Americans are even aware of the gun company car and a rural Pennsylvania Doomsday church, both run by the same ultra-rich Korean family, hold an annual Freedom Festival that attracts gun enthusiasts and the type of people who attach "Don't Tread on Me" flags to the back of their trucks. Pagliari explains in an article published on October 8th, but in the wake of the failed January 6th insurrection, the event's amalgamation of sovereign citizens and alt-truthers has taken on a new meaning, and now it's even got an all-star lineup. Well, please. Ryan Busey, a former gun industry executive, warns the presence of the former NRA spokesperson is legitimizing extremism. Busey told the Beast it's going to send a message across the country that this is normal, that this is okay, that this is American fascism being developed right before our eyes. It's like 1936 Germany in a symposium. Busey said went on to say, the one that concerns me most is Dana Loesch. She's treated by gun consumers like royalty, and here she is legitimizing this insanity that scares me. Busey finds Freedom Fest's combination of religious extremism, guns, and conspiracy theories and Trumpism to be incredibly toxic.
Former NRA member told the Beast, "It's what I fear. Anything that will gin up people to buy more guns, hate people more, vote for people like Trump. It's all of that on steroids. Doesn't the Klan meet in the dark out back behind the uncle's barn? This is right out in the open." Yikes. So this is the Korean gun company and Doomsday Church, run by the same ultra-rich Korean family. Who? We'll find that out. We'll have to do a deep dive, I think. By the way, I will also say that this will have a kind of average gathering of basically the same normal people, and that there's not going to be anything close to a rally, an old-fashioned Trump rally crowd showing up. I didn't get the Korean part. It's a Korean family owns that are behind the church and that owns the gun company. It sort of relates to the Moonies, maybe, who, the ones who pose with the AR-15s, right? They're based out of Texas. Thank you, Bonnie. Appreciate it. Girl boss. Level 1 hype train at 87%. Almost there. Subscribe, follow, click, all that stuff. All the Twitch stuff that's come out lately. I've seen a bunch of stuff about there's a... here, we'll switch back to this because we need to look at Dana Loesch's face. We've seen a bunch of stuff lately about how there are disparities between who's earning what on Twitch and the like, and it would seem that there are a bunch of people who are on Twitch who seem to think that there's some automatic. Thank you, Marcia. That there's some aspect of where it's automatic, the success that you have on these platforms, and that you don't have to grow them over time. That the hype train is on Twitch. That when people give bits or subscribe or follow, we get a hype train, and that means it gets people to recognize that they can help the channel, and the bits help support the channel, and so it's just one of those things that excites people. And thanks for the gifted subs, MLG 1977. And we do have a goal of 1,000 subs on there. It's 858 currently. Thank you very much. That the constant reminder seems to be helping and reminding people that they can do that. That's fantastic. But in the stories about Twitch, they're saying there's racial disparities between who makes the most money, and it's a very strange conversation to have about sort of income inequality on things like YouTube and Twitch, where on YouTube, there are a lot of people who are backed by YouTube, like the Young Turks. The Young Turks get money from YouTube for their channel beyond advertising and the other stuff that they do in subscriberships. They got seed money for their online journalism school or whatever it is on YouTube. So they get paid by them. So there's an argument that why did they give one group money and not another group money? And you could say there's an imbalance between who gets money and whatever on YouTube's, as far as the company paying stuff out. But when it comes to subscribers, and when it comes to advertisements and all that kind of stuff, it's reflective of your reach. And this is one of those areas where, I haven't experienced. There's obviously the biggest problem. I think that what would effectively be like minority channels on Twitch experience are these weird hate bot raids, which are really, brutal sometimes. And then, you can switch your chat to, subscribers only or followers only or whatever, and it kind of ditches it out. And many people are setting up a button on their stream deck that automatically does that in case they get one of these things. But nobody knows quite who's doing them. So it could be foreign actors trying to gin up, division inside the country. That would be my first guess. My first guess in this situation. And my experience with both Twitch and YouTube and all these sites has been that you just got to keep digging this well until you hit water. And then you got to filter it and you got to process it before you drink it. I mean, it's work to do this. You know, and you have to step beyond. Yeah, they're hate bots, Tracy. That's where they send, like, people have, they set up chat bots and then send them into people's chats on Twitch in particular, and then they just say hateful, awful things. So they're automated. And it's pretty terrible. And so there's ways to get around it or whatever, but some people who were hit by them initially weren't aware of how to deal with it, and they had some complaints with Twitch or whatever. I mean, that doesn't happen in my side of Twitch in a lot of ways, in the just chatting and the talk show and podcast area, which is where I post most of my stuff. It's more in the gaming side of it. But ultimately you have, it seems, a lot of people just dealing with, you know, or expecting that their success online, whether there's a stream or whatever, is automatic. And interestingly enough, I never felt that way, even though I come in with a fan base. I never went and did, you know, the big, like, ring the, you know, the Queers Folk or the Lab Rats dinner bell, or do shows that are just for those fans, you know, just to make them subscribe or just to drag them to the channel to boost those numbers. Like, the idea of doing that seems weird. It feels like this show, as it stands, should survive on its own as its own entity, because there is no overlap. This isn't my stand-up. This isn't my acting. This isn't my music. This is its own thing. And therefore, it should stand on its own. And it took, you guys have seen over the years, I mean, obviously last year we couldn't hit 5K for the longest time, even though I'd been doing my radio show on Saturdays for years. So there seems to be, it seems to be largely an audience issue. You know, that you know, the streamers themselves, people, it's like a gold rush. There's this perceived gold rush on Twitch and YouTube. And when they show up and they have to panhandle it, they get mad. And there were a lot of people who got there early, struck gold early because they were early, but only because they were early and for no other reason that they were early. And they're not better than anybody else. So it's very frustrating, the people who show up later to try and get those numbers of subscribers, when you're like, I've tuned into their channel and it's ass. There's nothing. It's boring. It's silly, you know. But, and then there are other channels that work really hard. They have teams. They got a production team set up, and because it grew, you know, they started out in their bedroom and then grew it into, they had to buy a warehouse. You know, so I respect personally the amount of work that even the people I don't like on Twitch have done. Didn't know who I was before this show. Thanks, Janet. See, that's the organic growth. That's this thing being its own thing. And it is separate from all the other stuff that I do. I mean, I'm sure there are a lot of people who don't know Matt Heafy is in Trivium, right? But he's doing fantastic, right? And that thing is not seeing them live or their albums. It's a whole different thing. Even though he plays music on it, it's a lot of fun. I just think there's a lot of sort of entitlement in that. Grateful for you getting us through the year. Thanks, Bob. And that was the goal of this show when we started, you know, and it still is. Because I want you to know, like, all the news stories we've seen today, don't let them, you know, take you down. Don't let the stress get to you. They don't deserve your time or your energy. Oh, is it a loading problem on here? Hold on 1 second. I got to reload my page. 1 second. Is there a YouTube issue? Yeah, there it is. Okay, good. I started seeing the circle on my YouTube feed, and it was like, oh no. I'm a Steph head. Excellent, Kylo. Yeah, I've been trying to talk Steph into streaming this way instead as well, because I think this would be way better for them than Free Speech TV. Sorry, Free Speech. I mean, Free Speech TV has some awful bedfellows on it, and it's very weird, and it has odd rules. So personally, I would prefer her to do kind of a wide streaming across multiple platforms like I do. Because I think, I mean, it would help immensely, Yeah, free speech TV is cumbersome, and it's not everywhere, whereas this stuff is everywhere, and you've got a backup. So, I mean, that's my, my personal feeling about it. So there's a lot of, and I've always, this goes along with never be afraid to be a white belt, like to go into a martial arts school and even if you have a black belt in another art, don't pretend you fucking know. Just go there and learn what they have to teach you. Try to empty your bowl, as it were, and learn what's presented to you there. Right? And the same thing goes with any of this stuff. Like I didn't presume that your ring keeps changing hands. Oh, well, I move it around. It doesn't quite matter. It's not, I usually have it on this finger, but sometimes it's on this finger. I'm just messing with you. It's I think it's crucial in any endeavor that you're going into that you go in with your eyes open and your awareness that there will be a cost to any success. You have to be willing to put the work in, make it worth your viewers' while for them to show up. And eventually they will, and you got to have faith in that, and you got to grind on it. I mean, there was a bunch of times last year, especially, before the YouTube apocalypse, for those 3 months, where I was like, okay, we're starting to get a roll. This might actually be, I might be able to pay health insurance premiums with my show. What a wonderful idea. And then it crashed, and you're like, okay, I've got to kind of rebuild from scratch. So we moved over to, more of a focus on Twitch, and that was a savior, and it really did help. And the daily super chats and stuff like that's what makes it possible. That's what people subscribing, growing the channel, passing it around, sharing it, all that stuff. Well, thanks. We've got a level 4 hype train and Twitch. Thank you very much. So there's a bunch of new emojis in there that everybody can use, and I'll just put a bunch in there because they're fun, and they won't show up in the YouTube. There's a dog, and there's a puppy, and then there's the other dog, and there's another dog, and then we unlock this guy. I'm just gonna send that. There you go. Just send it a bunch of these. But when I hear people complain about the imbalance on Twitch, a lot of it is just the people who got there first. It really is. The people who were drawn to it first, and the audience that was drawn to it first. That's just it. And advertisers are going to pay those people the most. Like this goes to like on Queer as Folk. When people talk about like salaries and the like, and should everybody make the same thing? Should we all make the same money, as a cast? Because we're all showing there's equity amongst the salary because everybody loves these characters and these characters. No, there is no way I'm going to ask for whatever money that Sharon Gless is getting. If she's making more than I am, she's earned that right, and she will continue to do so. And one day, God willing, when I'm her age and I have that many shows that are that many successes under my belt, I will be able to earn that level over my fellow cast members who have just started and this is their first show. Like it would be disgusting to assume otherwise. To me, anyways. How have you watched any apologetics? I don't know what that is. No. Streaming games that is new is not a thing. Play something that's still popular. It doesn't have 1.5 thousand streamers playing. That's exactly true. One of the biggest problems is that people who are joining Twitch late in the game is that they play games online, and the games they play are the ones that are the most popular currently, and they're not going to get an audience because there's already the big gamers are already taking up all that space. If you're going to watch Fortnite be played, you're going to watch it be played by people you like, who you know are funny, or blah blah blah. That's absolutely true. It's a shame more don't feel that way. Maybe they will increasingly. Things ebb and flow. Twitch came from a bootlegging website, so those older streamers all gain money from infringing on copyrights. That's also true. $5 not to be used towards a haircut. Watching clips with short-haired Hal is odd now. I bet. Thanks, Candy. I appreciate it. It will not be used towards a haircut. A do, you know, if I go get, you know, but not a cut. I was on here doing regular stuff, and because I was chatting, it showed me Hal stuff, and I never left. Only subbing 14 months. Oh, thanks, moms. You know, and that's the reach. That's what we're talking about. That's what you have. That's the organic growth that takes time. You've got to, you know, put up enough stuff where the algorithm takes you seriously. You got to hit a point where you know, subscriber wise, you're hitting a real number. And this idea that somehow you should be able to sidestep all that just cause other people are doing better than you makes no sense to me. None. Never has. You know, the greatest, and you know, the greatest solution to any of your problems, you know, or solving any of your goals or anybody being ahead of you is outworking them. It always will be. If you get lucky, you'll get lucky because you were going to get lucky. Thank you, Foggy Ozark, for being a member. Yay. But you can't count on that. Right? I was watching David and he liked the snark. There's a tremendous amount here. That's true. And grown-up language. Which, by the way, also, I'm aware, limits my ad rev. A lot of the other channels that, you know, on the left especially, and definitely the ones on the right, the reason why they don't swear is because you get, that's immediately will bop you down into lower ad rev or make you only appropriate for certain advertisers and that kind of stuff. And I just take that as part of the gig. That's just the reality of it. This is how I want to present my show. This is how I'm going to do it. And if that's what it costs me, that's the trade-off. And I'm okay with that, you know. Yes, being great at anything is really hard work, and it takes hours and hours and hours and hours of working on it, practice and failing and trying again. You guys have watched it happen live. And I hope in some ways, ultimately, and I'll sign off on this because I've gone 7 minutes past my allotted amount of time. I hope that you guys can be inspired by that fact, right? That if you want to do something or you've been feeling like something's out of reach, I effectively started from scratch with this stuff and went through 7 layers of hell trying to get it just where it would function regularly. Much less, you know, the sort of ongoing improvements that I try to make and the like as a live streamer, which is, you know, you're always, it's always easier to just post videos because you can check everything before it goes. But I hope that I inspire you to take, you know, better control of your own, you know, anxiety reflex so nobody can snatch it from you and take control of your emotional well-being, but also that you recognize that anybody can start again. You can always start over. You can always start from scratch and go, all right, my life has been laid waste behind me. You know, whatever I had is gone. And you guys know I call the 90s the Sisyphus years because this happened in my career before I got Talk Soup multiple times. You know, many of you know that one of my managers was arrested for embezzling from investors. And when they raided his office, they took a bunch of evidence and then they threw out everything else. Well, in the everything else was all my demo reels and all the copies of the shows that I'd been on that I used as clips to make my demo reels and all my headshots, which were all my money. I had spent $500 on headshots and I didn't even have I lost the negatives. I didn't have the actual prints that I had made. I didn't have the sheets, you know, the proof sheets. I lost all of it and just, you know, like had 24 hours of, well, I'm fucked. What now? And I've been at that point in my life so many times that now it's like a good habit. Like I'm not afraid of starting from scratch in any situation. because of that stuff. And that happened, things like that happened on like clockwork. So I just want you to know that, you know, if you've ever been in a situation where you just had your, you know, your knees swept out from under you, there's always a way back and a way up. You know, when I you know, I finally got a movie, right, in the 90s. Finally got one. Finally. And this I got Lost and Found with David Spade. Got cast in that to do this DJ scene. And they ended up, I got an invite to the cast and crew screening. I was like, I'm in a movie. I got a scene in a movie. It's coming out with Sophie Marceau, and it's fantastic. David Spade, and here we go, and this is it. In the 90s, right? And then I sit down, and somebody taps me on the shoulder and goes, sorry, your scene was cut out. It was just a thing. You know how David is. As the curtain's going up. At my first film in 8 years. And I'd already told everybody, you know, my family, I'd shot it. I sent them pictures from me on the set and all that stuff. Off it went. 2 weeks later, I was supposed to, they were going to let me fill in for John Henson while he was on vacation on Talk Soup as a trial for a full week. 2 days before that, sorry, John's not going on vacation this year, but thanks so much. I'd already told my family that I was going to be on for a week. My dad thought I was on drugs at the time. He thought I was just making up stories about being and stuff. Yeah. Hal Sparks, how can we as this community help each other? I would say partly by finding your own personal strength so that when people go through the life hits that will eventually come, you're the steady point they can count on. That's always the way. You have to learn how to deal with rejection as an actor. No, I don't believe in rejection as an actor. I think that's we've talked about that myth before. I don't buy it. They're not rejecting you. They're casting someone else. I don't care. Yeah, Gabriel, like when they don't greenlight something, you know, I also, you know, I did a pilot with Marta Kaufman and David Crane, like great cast, Hilary Swank, and I think Giovanni Ribisi was in it, and like it was great, and they had it was Marta Kaufman and David Crane. They had another pilot. They were doing it at the same time called Friends. So the pilot I was in, right? So I'm used to starting from scratch. I'm used to going, okay, it's all gone. It's all over. It's done. There's nothing left. All right, pick yourself up. Just, you know, get up. Get up. Hold on. Do you think being buff has hurt your typecasting as a weekly nerd? I hope so, Pepsi Max. I do hope so. Because I've done that. I would have made a good Chandler. I think so. And I remember at the Aspen Comedy Festival, Marta Kaufman and David Crane were doing a panel with some other people about television comedy, blah, blah, blah. And she saw my face, and Marta didn't recognize me right away because I wasn't known yet at all. And we're at the Aspen Comedy Festival, which I was not allowed, I was not accepted into as a stand-up or whatever, but I went anyways to schmooze, and it worked. I got my agent that way. Again, scrapping. And she saw my face and she went, "Hey, funny guy," which, I understand that she didn't know my name like right away. Then she was like, "Hal." Yes, Hal. Right. Like that. It took her a second because there's lots of people there. I forgive people in those situations, as you should. But the fact that the first thing that came to her mind was, funny guy, was very heartwarming. And I'll always thank her for that. So, I was at the Aspen Comedy Festival in 1999, live Simpsons. I was there. Yes, I am. I'm coming to an ASPCA event in Delaware. Let's see. I'll post this stuff after. I'm gonna post it. I got a thing prepped to do for the radio show tomorrow. But maybe I'll post it this afternoon with information and all that kind of stuff. So we'll figure that out. But I'm going to sign off right now, and I will see you guys this afternoon. Otherwise, I will just stay on until then. Do I need anything? Just people to subscribe and support the show and share it and that kind of stuff. Just natural growth. I'm cool with that. Great, Laura. She goes, I so needed to hear this message today. It's been 3 months of backwards for me. Thank you. Yeah, I mean, I have had the rug pulled out from under me so many times that it became comical after a while. It's just like, am I never going to get a fucking break? Am I never going to, like, it was bad upon bad upon bad, especially, like I said, in the 90s, it was, and, but even still, the shows that I've done, and then the timing of when stuff would happen. I mean, many of you know that I walked into my agent at Brillstein with a stack of graphic novels and said, how about a series about zombies? And I put down the Walking Dead comics. And a year later, it's being piloted and done by a manager down the hall. The project is being, yeah. So I get it. I understand. But there you go. Anyways, if this is group therapy, in some ways, I hope so. It's just kind of, again, we can relax into our own personal experiences in the mornings, and then we'll get back to our regular shouty, sweary fun in the afternoons. I'll let you guys go, and I will see you guys this afternoon. I still got to make a ending screen for this. I just don't. I don't have one right now. It's not right. Is it? Can I just convert this one? Yeah, I guess I can. I'll just make a stream ending version of this one. Yeah, and then play some music, and then head on out. Go off into the right off into the sunset. We'll see you in a bit. I'll see you later. You guys have a beautiful day. Thanks for joining. Whoops.
Geeks, sluts, bloods, wastoids, dweebies, dickheads. They all adore him. They think he's a righteous dude.
Hit the wrong buttons again.
Small words that you'll be sure to understand, you warthog-faced buffoon.
It's not Irish. It's not English.
Oh, yeah. Fair, what is my kindness for the horses, you know?
It's just, well, it's just pikey.
right. Senior citizens, although slow and dangerous behind the wheel, can still serve a purpose. So that's the kind of fight it's gonna be.
Welcome to the real world.
Like the guy says, you're gonna eat lightning and you're gonna drop thunder.
Am I getting through to you, Alpha? Person, woman, man, camera, TV.
I gotta barbecue your assy molasses.
We need you. Hell, I need you. I'm a mess without you. I miss you so damn much. I miss being with you. I miss being near you. I miss your laugh. I miss your scent. I miss your musk. When this all gets sorted out, I think you and me should get an apartment together. I had a beat off. How, in the name of Zeus's butthole, did you get out of your cell?
That was really cool, by the way. That was really cool, by the way.
Man's got to know his limitations. Man's got to know his limitations.
That's great psychology. Why don't you just say something bad about my mother?
I never realized how much my advice could hurt people until my advice hurt me.
I am a HAL 9000 computer. I became operational at the HAL plant in Urbana, Illinois on the 12th of January, 1992.
He's you real nice. If I didn't have puke breath, I'd kiss you.
your father, Luke. Give in to the dark side of the Force, you nap.
I'm just a happy camper. I'm a land farmer, motherfucker!
Groovy. We've got entirely too many troublemakers here.
Throw me a frickin' bone here. I'm the boss.
I'm a dude playing a dude disguised as another dude.
Sportos, motorheads, geeks, sluts, bloods, wastoids, dweebies, dickheads. They all adore him. They think he's a righteous dude.
Classify that as a launch problem or a design problem?
Michigan gave us Motang.
What do you say we cut the chit-chat? A-hole!
Michigan gave us Motang.
Tell him, McCluskey. Tell him what time it is.
Michigan gave us Motang.
This is my sister. You can all have her. I hear she's very good.
Michigan gave us Motang.
That was really cool, by the way.
Michigan gave us Motang.
Butthole!
Lady, I'm afraid I'm going to have to ask you to leave the store.
Michigan gave us Motang.
I got news for you, pal. You ain't leaving but two things right now. Jack and shit. Jack left town.
All right. Who wants some? Who's next?
If you get it in order, you get extra points.
Shut up and never say anything again as long as you live.
And you know, when you say per capita, there's many per capitas. It's like per capita relative to what?
A chat with you and somehow death loses its sting.
Bags of soup.
Butthole!
Soup for my family.
Butthole!
Wah wah wee wah!
Sportos, motorheads, geeks, sluts, bloods, wastoids, dweebies, dickheads. They all adore him. They think he's a righteous dude.